This story unfolds in one of the harshest and most unforgiving places on Earth, deep in Siberia, where winter is not a season, but a constant, merciless force that rules every moment of life. In this frozen land, temperatures drop to an unimaginable -71 degrees Celsius, a level of cold so extreme that exposed skin can freeze in seconds, metal becomes brittle, breath turns into ice, and even silence feels heavy and dangerous. It is a place where nature does not forgive mistakes and where survival demands discipline, strength, and courage every single day. In the middle of this icy wilderness lives Anastasia, a 75-year-old woman who has spent most of her life battling this environment. She lives completely alone in a small, weather-beaten wooden cabin half buried under snow, far from modern civilization. There is no electricity to light her nights, no central heating to protect her from the cold, no running water, and no phone signal to call for help. Her world is reduced to the essentials: an old iron stove that must never go out, a wooden bed, a few metal pots, and a lifetime of memories carved into the walls of her home. Every morning, Anastasia wakes before sunrise, not because of an alarm clock, but because the cold seeps into her bones and refuses to let her sleep. Her first and most urgent task is to light the fire. At these temperatures, fire is not comfort, it is life itself. If the stove goes cold, the water freezes solid, food becomes unreachable, and the cabin quickly turns into a frozen coffin. With stiff, trembling fingers and breath that hangs in the air like smoke, she strikes matches again and again until a flame finally catches, buying her another day of survival. Water does not come from a tap here. Anastasia must step outside into the brutal cold and break thick ice to collect it, knowing that every second spent outdoors carries risk. Her eyelashes freeze, her scarf turns stiff, and her hands quickly lose feeling. Yet she moves with the calm precision of someone who has learned that panic wastes energy, and energy here means life. Around her is absolute silence. No birds, no wind, no distant human sounds, only the crack of ice and the soft crunch of snow beneath her boots. By her side through all of this is Bars, her loyal dog. Bars is more than a companion. He is her guardian, her warmth, and her connection to life. In a place where loneliness can be as deadly as the cold, his presence gives her comfort and protection, especially during long, dark nights when the temperature drops even further and fear creeps in. Anastasia knows that without Bars, survival would be far more difficult, both physically and emotionally. Despite her age and the constant danger surrounding her, Anastasia refuses to leave this land. For her, this frozen world is not just a place of suffering, it is home. It holds her memories, her past, and her sense of identity. Leaving would mean abandoning the life she understands for an uncertain future elsewhere. And so, day after day, as long as the fire continues to burn and Bars remains at her side, Anastasia stands her ground against one of the coldest environments on Earth, proving that even in the most extreme conditions, human resilience, determination, and the will to survive can endure. As the Siberian sun fades, barely lifting itself above the horizon before sinking again, the real danger begins. Night in this frozen land is not simply darkness, it is a test of endurance that can last for 18 to 20 hours, and when the light disappears, the temperature falls even further. For Anastasia, night is the time when fear whispers the loudest, because a single failure, an extinguished fire, a cracked stove, or a sudden illness could mean she never sees another morning. Inside her small wooden cabin, the iron stove glows faintly, its heat uneven and unreliable. Anastasia feeds it constantly, waking every few hours to add more wood, knowing that sleep is a luxury she cannot afford for too long. Her body aches, her joints stiffen, and her breath forms clouds in the dim light, but she endures, wrapped in layers of worn clothing that carry the smell of smoke and age. Each piece of fabric tells a story of survival, repaired countless times because nothing here is easily replaced. Outside, the world is silent, but danger still moves through the darkness. Wolves roam the frozen land in search of food, drawn by scent and sound. Anastasia has learned to listen carefully, to the crunch of distant footsteps, to the low warning growl of Bars, who never truly sleeps. When he lifts his head and stares into the darkness, she knows something is out there. The dog places himself between her and the door, his presence a living shield in a place where help will never arrive in time. Loneliness presses hardest during these long nights. Memories surface of family members long gone, of a younger life when voices filled the air and laughter felt warm. There are moments when the silence feels unbearable, heavier than the cold itself. Yet Anastasia speaks softly to Bars, her voice steady, as if reminding herself that she is still human, still connected to something alive. In this frozen isolation, even simple conversation becomes an act of resistance against despair. When dawn finally approaches, it does not arrive with warmth or comfort. It arrives as pale light stretching weakly across the snow, signaling that Anastasia has survived yet another night. She rises slowly, her body exhausted but unbroken, and prepares to repeat the same rituals: fire, water, food, vigilance. Each day is a victory, small but meaningful, in a place where survival is never guaranteed. For Anastasia, life in Siberia is not about conquering nature, but about coexisting with it, respecting its power, fearing its extremes, and enduring its cruelty. And as long as the stove continues to burn and Bars remains watchful by her side, she faces each frozen night with quiet determination, proving once again that even in the coldest darkness, the human spirit can endure.